people is not to present some coercive power. And he was wise because observed and also trustworthy. With all these great qualities, over a long period of time, 30 years, human effort transformed the situation so the flood was contained and eventually irrigation system developed. And he knew how to drain this water, so he understood nature. He understood the disaster, and he was able to do it. But this is there is a flip side. This is a negative side of this power of the human to deal with human disaster. The flip side is also, Mao Zedong liked it a lot. It's a study of a stupid old man, foolish old man, who moved the mountain. This foolish old man, he opened his door and realized there was a mountain in front, so he wanted to remove it. So people laughed at him. Said, how can you do it? You're just one person. He said, well, the mountain is static. The mountain is not going to change. I couldn't do it, but my children's children eventually will have to move. And his dedication actually was so inspiring that the spirits or the gods, holistic, the gods had sympathy for him and had him to move. This to me is ridiculous and also extremely unhelpful. Because first of all, there's no reason for the guy. Flood is going to overwhelm humanity, so you have to do something about it. What's wrong? You could open your door on the other side, right? It's totally ridiculous to do that. And yet there's another demonstration Mao is very particularly interested in, is the human ability to change nature. And that, if that becomes aggressive, deforestation, all these other things happen because we have the human engineering. And I think the modern manifestation, I don't want to criticize this position, but I basically consider it disastrous, is the Three Gorges. It's an incredible attempt to try to transform the Three Gorges naturally into into stations for electricity. And it's going to be disastrous. Because how do we know? Often we have to be humble enough to know what we do not know. And to know what we do now may have unintended negative consequences our children or children's children will suffer. So you need to respect nature. This is not certainly the idea of considering nature as a communion of subjects. It's just those objective things that you could overcome. So the human spirit, in this sense, is not only important sociologically or politically. What you do in the privacy of your home is significant cosmologically. So there's a statement which is puzzled a lot of people. Confucius said, if you cultivate yourself and return to propriety, civility, and in so doing you enhance your humanity. By enhancing your humanity, you're actually enhancing the humanity of everyone. Just a little bit you do. And most people say, oh, maybe the sage king, maybe great leaders can do it. I, as a private citizen, how can I do it? The notion is there's a collective human destiny. This collective human destiny can be enhanced even by a little bit of what we do. On the other hand, if we do negative things, then the humanity suffers as a whole. So this is not something mysterious. It's something I think we even do calculation. We know that's exactly the case. So it becomes a cumulative enterprise. This cumulative enterprise involves three characteristics of the Confucian project. The first one is learning. To be a human is to learn. And the most central feature of learning is learning to be human. Dogs will have to learn to be dogs, but according to human discipline, this is ridiculous. Dogs are supposed to be different. Now we shape the dogs into so many forms. We think the dogs all have personalities. You have to find a term. It's not personality, right? Dog has its own what? Dogness? It's not personality, because personality is definitely anthropocentric. But human beings, unlike other animals, will have to learn to be fully human as a continuous process. And that's your humanity, that's our humanity. So yeah.
I guess I'm just not totally clear on where the self ends and where the community begins. I know you said it's a flowing stream, but does your motive matter? If you're learning for yourself, but you're also learning to enhance humanity,
Sure.
Are you supposed to be
Yeah.
thinking about
Humanity begins when you enter into communication with other humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Self-realization is a process of realizing yourself, but that process involves, that's the reason I define a human being as a center of relationships. At the level of center, our own independence, autonomy, or dignity will have to be preserved. But at the level of relationships, we recognize we're part of a community. Community is extensive. We're not only the community of a family, of a nation, but also of the world or the cosmic order.
Okay, so by enhancing yourself, you're also enhancing the global collective.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the reason why, even if you add a little bit of humanity to yourself, everybody benefits.
So would you say
normally we don't think that way, right?
Is there an element of altruism there, or again, it's
yes,
not?
but
Okay.
you see, altruism is not alien, but it's not a language the Confucians want to use. Why? Because so-called altruistic is directly related to your self-benefit. You don't do it simply, you want to sustain your self-interest in order to help others. The idea is that's your true self-interest, right? Your true self-interest is to help others as well. So how do you define humanity? Humanity means to establish yourself so you'll be able to establish others. To enlarge yourself in order also to enlarge others. So it's altruistic, but altruistic is an integral part of the broadened sense of your self-interest. A distinction has to be made between profit and rightness. Some people say getting profit is absolutely necessary. This is, maybe I use this example. The Confucian idea of the person is not diametrically opposed, it's significantly different from the kind of personality we all subscribe to now. That's the idea of the economic man. What is an economic man? Or economic woman? Economic person is someone who's critically aware of his or her self-interest. That's your rationality. If you're a rational human being, in economics, people tell you, you're rational, the first thing is you know your self-interest. If you don't know your self-interest, you're not rational. And the person is dedicated, it's important to work hard, to maximize his or her profit. In a marketplace, the marketplace is never totally free, but a relatively free market adjudicated by law. This is an economic man. An economic man knows self-interest, knows the importance of maximization of profit, knows the legal constraint, knows the free market is open to everyone. We enter into the free market and we do our thing in order to do that. Some of the great values are embedded in this idea of the economic man. Rationality. Human rights, it's my right to maximize my profit. Legality, I don't violate law, otherwise I'd be caught. And freedom, and a number of others. What I'm missing, and maybe I pose this question to you, what are some of the values that we consider important for us that are missing in the economic man?
Rightness, equality?
Okay, equality and rightness can be accommodated. Everybody's equal. You see, I don't have to take care of the homeless because we're all equal. He has his human rights, I have my human rights. I become wealthy because luck, because hard work, because my ability to manipulate the market, and that guy is not lucky, probably lazy, and doesn't do anything. I may help, but I have no obligation, right? So equality